Hey everyone, welcome to a new market review. This was the forecast from the last video. It didn't work out, we went lower, but I still think we get a bullish rally. Would note that we can potentially go as low as 650 next week in the first 3 days. And there are many reasons why I still think this is the case. We'll go through them. First of all, I think you guys heard the rumors that Netanyahu might be dead. And based on the fact that he's not been seen for a couple of days, he's either dead or severely injured, meaning in a state in which they cannot show him on TV or he cannot do anything like that. So this is an off ramp for the US. We'll see if it becomes public in the next few days or something like that. But it's a positive thing for developments in the Middle East. Plus, Israel is still getting pummeled, and that will reduce their appetite for war significantly, in my opinion. We'll see how it plays out. Now, aside from this, I think Trump is in a panic state. If you remember the 2025 tariff tantrum, first he was defiant, then he went into bargaining mode, and then he folded. And we're seeing this now. So in the 2025 tariff tantrum, he was defiant immediately, like a million percent tariff, 20 million% tariff, blah blah blah, stupidity like that. And then he went into bargaining and stuff like, don't be a panicant, don't be a panicant. And then he eventually folded with the it's a good time to buy tweet, and the rest is history. And we're seeing the same kind of pattern now. He's talking about escalation. Yesterday he had that tweet about, now everyone should be joining in. Let's make world peace together, guys. Please, guys, come help us fix Hormuz. We're gonna make peace on earth, and that kind of bullshit. So especially if Netanyahu is dead, I think the US will take the off ramp, and we're gonna get significant de-escalation. But my thesis remains the same, meaning we get a rally. This is a bear market rally. We'll put a market top in, and then we go down for real. And I think even if the US does the escalation, they will get back in within a month, and the war is back on. This is my expectation. Now, from the technical part, uh, there are many things to show that we are bottoming. Let's look at breadth first. So, getting over sold, getting to the green area here. Let's move this. So, getting to the green area. Yesterday or Friday, in spite of dropping, we're basically 50-50 on up volume, down volume. Um, then, when we look at, let's go back to the default and SPY, and I'll hide everything. So for SPY, because that candle, the green one here, fully reversed the price drop, when we look at the line chart, we see that we have a low and SPY made new lows. But when we look at VIX, we have a high and a lower high, while SPY was making lower lows. This is a classic market bottom signal, a very strong one, in that the market has bottom or is close to bottoming very very soon, and we still should expect that this is the case. Furthermore, like on my positioning breadth indicator, we got to what on Friday? Minus 18. This is generally the low we find on this type of pullback, like 15 here, 22, 21. So this type of general market pullback is at this level. I would have been a lot more concerned if we started a pullback from a high that was very low, like for example here, where the delta between positive and negative is very low, like 13 here, or the 2022 low, which was 11. And I think this will be the case for the next high. So we will go up, but we go up very little, and the delta will be like 10, 12, something like this. And that will be a signal that we begin the next leg down. When we peak out, like the market does equal high going to 700, something like that, and then the delta is still very low, showing like we rallied on very weak breath. That will be a sign that another leg down comes again. Furthermore, like stuff like XLF is very, very oversold. You see that we are at levels similar to the lows of the 2022 bear market. Yesterday, or again Friday, was 4% in the money call delta, 60% in the money put. And these are levels we weren't at this low even for the tariff tantrum. Like banks held up very well, we weren't this oversold. And the most oversold was here, which was 72% in the money puts. If we go a bit lower, that's going to be the level. And I've been wondering why have banks been so weak? And I think the answer is contagion fears. I imagine many of the banks are exposed either directly or indirectly to GCC countries, Arab countries, either like stuff like for Dubai real estate investments. Maybe they have investments there, or indirect being they have a lot of Arab money that might be going away now that they have to put it to work at home. So that's kind of how I'm thinking the weakness in banks, in spite of the positive call activity that we keep seeing. So this also points to being very oversold and bouncing, or not a lot of room to go further down here. This is SPY. You can see that we are at levels generally uh, confluent with lows, Qs, the same kind of thing, and it's true across the board for stuff that has been going down. And oil, I'm going to apply very simple logic to this one. Let's say I'll turn this back on. So this rally, let's say, started from here, and the price then was 65. So if 20% of the world's oil goes away, because that was the level from the Strait of Hormuz, let's say what is 20% here, and let's say we give it even a 10% premium. Well, that levels becomes 85. So in my estimate, even if all the oil from the Strait of Hormuz is going away, oil should be basing between 90 and 80. Let's give it a $10 range. So the price oil should be at is somewhere in this range, like 85 plus minus 5, so between 80 and 90. And that is the level where oil, I think, will go. And we see the same pattern here. Even though we went higher in price, the oil VIX did not make a new high, and it's having difficulties going higher. And I think that's going to be the case. So even if all the oil from the Strait of Hormuz is going away, the level where oil should be is this one. So this will be a fade, and the market will expect it to fade it on Monday. It's up 3.5% right now. It was up to 6, but I don't think this will hold. I think this will get faded, and US tech is flat over the weekend. Now, the last thing I like to talk about is actually two things. First is Bitcoin. Now, again, I don't know if you've heard, but there are capital controls being imposed on GCC countries. That means you cannot move money around or up to a specific amount. I think the amount for regular people is like 100K. So I think people are panicking. As you know, GCC doesn't have a lot of native population. It's mostly foreigners like Dubai, rich foreigners who moved there for the no tax thing, and now they cannot move their money outside of the UAE. So I think it looks like they're going through to crypto, and they're trying to move it through crypto. So in this scenario, we should be seeing Bitcoin go to 80K in the upcoming rally. And because it goes so high, it becomes increasingly unlikely that it will make new lows even when the market goes down. And there are three scenarios in which I think it basically higher low here, or goes for the low retest, or goes at max would be going for 1 ATR on the yearly, which is 55K. And I think that will be the bottom. But for short term, I think it goes to 80K. We'll see after that. Then, second thing is DXY had a big move on Friday, and I think this was the major reason why um, the market continued dropping, because DXI is putting pressure on stuff. But you also have to think about it like this. So SPY dropped, where is it? 0.61, but dollar appreciated 0.75. So actually, on a relative term, the US appreciated in dollar terms over on Friday. So even though it dropped, it didn't really drop relative to all other stock markets and currencies. Um, and I think the way this will develop is we will stabilize along very similarly to how oil played out. When we go back to look at oil, we stabilize quite a bit along uh, the long trigger for the yearly. And I think this is true for DXY. So basically, we will go to the yearly trigger and we will go sideways for a bit. And then when the second leg starts, DXY will squeeze and do something like oil. Probably not as fast, but something like this each leg. Very similar to in amplitude to this legs here or this leg here. And we will have 2 to 3. Let's say if this is the first one, we go to 100. Oops. We go to 100. This will be the first leg. Then we have another 2 legs. So one would be here, the one here. Maybe get 1 ATR. Maybe it's a bit longer or larger to get here. But the target would be 1 ATR on the yearly, just like oil went even above. So that's my expectation. And this will be the leg when the market actually goes down in a significant way. Now, all this being said, let's look at SPY and how it's going to play out. Uh, so we have various scenarios. I don't think the target 4-1 is achievable anymore. Uh, so target 4 is not achievable anymore in my opinion. So we take it out. But target 3 is the main target. We probably go to 700 and poke above it briefly. And that's kind of how I think it plays out. So target 1, we hit it. It's no longer a target. The next one, this one becomes target 1 basically. Actually, I'll leave it there. Sorry. So like this. The negative scenario, we go to like, it's not going to be 650 exactly. It's going to be somewhere between 650 and 655. So somewhere around this area. And then we bounce and it's going to be a very large move higher. And target 1 would be probably the AVU up here. This is 100% hit chance level thing. So we go here and then potentially to go all the way here, and then the big drop can begin. So why I think this happens, because when the escalation happens, we're going to have a very large rally. I expect like a 4-5% candle in a single day. So this will be a single day move, and some continuation afterwards. It's like 7%, not that much, not that little. It can also happen directly from this level. We can see the escalation on Monday. Maybe they announced that Netanyahu is actually dead or something like that, and the world will cheer for Netanyahu's death, and it will be like 5% from this level. We'll see how it plays out, but expectation is still that we go up, even if we go to 650 first. So that's it for this one. Have a good one. Bye bye.